Ready.
All right, here we go. Full sound.
Already roll. Thank you.
This is a script I did not mean to write. It was a result of my going to a cafe to write quite often. There were neighboring tables that actually were more interesting than anything I was going to write about, so I decided just to write this script based on some of the stuff I was hearing and then injecting my own storylines.
I'm expecting some quite special company today, and a real special girl.
Okay, well, I'd love to stay and play, but, you know, I just got a 4-top, and I don't want my smile to crack, so...
It all takes place in a cafe, several different tables, and each one is a different genre of film. One table has a comedy, a romantic comedy. One is a thriller. One is kind of like a Shakespearean tragedy. As the eavesdropping begins to occur, all the genres then mix, and they all actually change. The thriller suddenly becomes the comedy becomes the tragedy. You're fooled time and time again as the twists unfold at the end, and the audience then becomes the ultimate eavesdropper.
Don't suppose I could tempt you.
Like I said, I had my fill of both smoking and men.
I was talking about the champagne.
I really wanted to lean on theatrical actors. Even when we were holding the auditions, most of the actors would come in and say, I thought this was a play. That being said, we wanted to get actors who had a theatrical background. Tove Feldschuh was the first one that I really wanted to try to get in this movie because she can make a character just come right out of the screen. You know, you feel every emotion with her. The other one was Terrence Mann, who has a great musical background. Most people know him from the stage, and instead of having him dance and instead of having him do his flamboyant performance, I wanted him to talk about music. I wanted him to try to relay his passion for music to the character of Chapman, and I figured that he would be the best messenger of that.
Like all melodies, they're in the air, they're in you, they're in me. They just need to be harnessed. Okay, go.
As far as other cast members, Terrence was someone that we took a lot of time auditioning different people for. Chris Parnell suddenly came to mind. He had just left SNL, and I met with him at a cafe. We hit it off, and he understood the character. To see him act and see him pull off this character without having any kind of overt comedic moment is, I think, a triumph for him, and I think it really played well with the movie.
The door.
The door?
The bells.
The bells what?
On the door, the bells on the door.
Yeah, somebody just came in. Oh, that tall drink of water.
More like a black Russian and a highball.
What?
It was the bells. They didn't ring, they tolled.
Yes, they tolled. A toll indeed.
Yes, they did toll. Definitely a toll.
The harbinger of a harried fellow?
No, not harried. The toll was ominous.
Portentous?
Yes, good. Pretentious. A better buttery word and resonant with a vengeance.
I really, really like character actors. I think that their acting chops sometimes are supreme to the leads. Asif Manvi and Alan Ruck, the two chess players, is a perfect example of that. Asif came from Comedy Central, from The Daily Show. Him being in that doesn't really necessarily show how good he is as an actor. His demeanor and just his pacing were perfect for the character of Don, being this chess player who wants to make sure that there's a metaphor in every motion that he makes and everything he hears in the cafe. He's definitely nettling his friend Casper, who is played by Alan Ruck.
Love is the morning mist, a fog, that the daylight of reality burns away.
Bleak.
I think that Casper
Bleak.
is very much opposite Don, and it all goes down even to the costuming, where Alan has a very light, almost white suit on, and Don has a dark suit on. And that's also part of the whole chess and the pieces and the dark and the white. Alan Ruck is an actor who will surprise you every time. He'll take a line that you've written and he'll pause in a certain spot that might feel very unnatural as you're filming it. But when you're in post putting these scenes together and you underscore it with certain music, somehow these moments that he chooses are enough to create the dramatic moment you need to make that scene work, just based on the way he said a word or the way he didn't say a word and there was this silence for a moment. I really am indebted to him for making these scenes special between himself and Asif. My philosophy is take care of it in editing. I think that we were probably going 1 to 2 minutes on most takes because I wanted the actor to have an opportunity, even if it's a small scene and it's just maybe a 3 or 4 line exchange, to still have some sort of arc within it. I mean, it's really an assault because you're going from one table to another and it's just constant conversation that you're hearing. I don't direct a lot on set with them because the audition says it all to me. If they get it, they get it. So when we're on set, I have full confidence that they come very prepared. They just go, and sometimes I would want to cut. However, they continue on with the scene because they know the lines so well, and I think they actually get carried away with where this character is going. These days, you know, shooting tape, you can do that. There's no real limitation on how long you can do a take. This film was actually shot over the course of 1.5 years. It certainly was not consecutive days. So I think the way we went about filming this, which was shooting it in segments, meaning we shot a table at a time, and we did it every couple of months, which allowed us to really prepare each segment, allowed us to rehearse beforehand with some of the actors, which obviously meant that the crew would have to be pretty patient with finishing the movie because we called upon them to come back and back and back. But they did, and I think that as we kept having these shoots occur and everyone could see all the different characters and then see what ultimately happened to each, I think that it actually helped with enthusiasm on set, and everyone kept coming back and enjoying what was next. I think that the fatigue factor didn't really ever hit us because we were only shooting a couple days tops. My DP is named Greg Andracki. He actually came from the news and journalistic side of the business as far as being a cameraman. I presented him with a certain style that I liked, and he's older than me. I think he comes more from the 70s generation of shooting through objects. You'll see candelabras in shots, you'll see a lot of candles, you'll see mugs and beer glasses that we intentionally put there in order to keep the audience a little bit removed so that eavesdropping thing could become more and more apparent.
I haven't lived a good life. I've been bad. Worse than you could know.
You know, that's good, because if you actually were as innocent as you pretend to be, we'd never get anywhere.
Even my reference monitor on set, I had in black and white, and Greg was lighting it for black and white. As we got into post, we started to see that some of these scenes might have looked a little flat art direction-wise because of the black and white. The cafe is extremely colorful. I think we experimented with the color on Terrence and Tallulah first and got a really beautiful amber, golden, almost Godfather-looking feel. And then we tried to keep that balance throughout and almost give it a look as if it was candlelight. Now we have a very sepia-rich film that I think is better for it. Chris North was the composer on this film. Again, it's the mixing of genres. His scores were really, really diverse, but he kept through lines in there, and we worked very hard at keeping certain melodies within each of the underscores of each table, but also the ambient tracks of the jazz that you hear throughout the film. I think it was all in the same key. We tried very hard to keep melodies hidden, but certainly present throughout, so that there was an element of making all these tables feel as one, and that you're never too jolted by sudden music changes or sudden table changes.
Every time, 2 o'clock.
No.
That's when he's due to arrive. And this time I'll be waiting for him.
No.
See, I too have a love of the dark. A demon.
No, you don't understand.
I believe I do. Quite perfectly.
This film, I felt, takes advantage of a casual, overheard word or phrase that suddenly sparks your attention away from the person you're with and lends your ear elsewhere. As I said, everyone participates in eavesdropping in one way or another, whether it's at a cafe, an airport, a restaurant. I really am happy and proud that this film was able to deliver that element and unfold it in a cinematic way.
Life is in the listening. At least it is for me.